Good. Okay, guys, let's begin. So welcome. We are finished all of our assessments. A couple of people to do the last one. I've got to mark them. I've got our exams, folios to mark. Getting through them should be done by the end of this week. You should have all your school-based grade by then. Okay, but that means we've got basically just under 2 months until the exam. And you can see I've got a fairly rigorous program planned for how we're going to use our class time. And then outside of that, it's going to be pretty self-directed. It's about you being very deliberate about what are the areas I need to focus on. So today, for the first 20 minutes, what I'm going to do is go through our revision plan to talk about what each of those things mean, talk about the resources that you have available to use, and then, so if we look, where are we? We're week 8. Monday we did the test. Today we're having a plan. And then I've got for you the 2018 exam. Now, it just so happens the 2018 exam is my favourite exam. And the reason I've printed it out and given it to you is I think today I'd like to spend an hour from sort of 9:15 to 10:15 going through it and just trying to do what you can do. And hopefully, like, this is it's a 3-hour exam, and it changed from 3 hours to 2 hours in 2020. So that means your exam will be 2 hours. It's not going to be this long. So, boys, running a bit late. Throwing me out. All right, grab a seat quickly, mate, and I'm going to talk to you first, and then you can get set up for the test. It used to be 3 hours, it's now 2 hours, but I think that's still going to be okay because you can still flick through. All of the content is relevant to see what are the parts I can answer. And the idea is not to sort of scare you and go, crap, I don't know any of this, but the idea is to make you realise there's 2 months until the exam, there's work that needs to be done. All right? So that's our plan today. And then you can see following that, so on Thursday, so tomorrow, we're going to go through Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 revision. All right, and you can see basically each lesson, we're covering the content that we did for a test. All right, we're covering each content that we did for a test. And we'll do a very thorough, it'll be fairly directed by myself, review of what we've done. So let's just turn the page and I'll show you what kind of things we've got planned. So if we have a look at introductory concepts, we can see there's a few questions there we're going to address from Chapter 1 it is, but the introductory concepts, where we've got skills with logarithms, graphs of logarithmic functions, and then trigonometric functions. Okay, so we're going to recap that. And we will also recap the rules of differential calculus. That's what we're going to do tomorrow. So I've got the sheet there that we're familiar with. We've seen all the formulas, everything we need to know for Chapter 2 test, and then some questions alongside. Okay, so we're going to go through the questions together. We're going to apply the rules. Hopefully that prompts in us, yes, I remember how to do this. Now I envisage that, okay, each lesson taking between 20 to 40 minutes of direct teaching. All right, but it means you're definitely doing something. And then following that, it's up to you how you use your time, whether it be you're doing review sets from Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, whether it be you're going over the tests, some of the practice tests that we had. So let's flick back, all right, and then we can see following we've done our comprehensive review will be Wednesday of week 10. We're going to have a bit of a class party then, and then on Thursday I've got some selected questions we're going to go through. We've got 2 tutorials scheduled for the holidays. So you can see we've got 9 to 11, and I've written their 2018 exam, and that can be something that we go through directly. I reckon we can do the 3-hour exam in 2 hours, just writing it down, explaining it all. Or we can do a different exam. I'm open to ideas, okay? It can be come in, let's work through an exam together. It can be come in, sit down, and have a trial exam under exam conditions. And then the following Friday as well. So 2 tutorials on each Friday of week 1 and Friday of week 2 of the holidays. Now, I'd be more inclined to work through something together just because it makes best use of my time available to you. One of the most important things I'm going to say when you're revising for an exam is to really try and facilitate that exam situation. I've got so many exams for you to do, and basically between now and the exam, you should try and be doing at least 1 per week. Sitting down, all right, and just knuckling out one a week. 2 hours a week, just sitting down, having a go at exams. We've got heaps to work through. So facilitating that exam situation means got your formula sheets, got your sort of closed, quiet area for 2 hours, 10 minutes. That's how long you have for the exam. Okay, following that, we have week 1 Week 1, you're expected to be here. We're going to be going through, we'll be going through some stuff. We'll make a decision during those lessons about how we're going to allocate that time. But you are expected to be here for week 1. In week 2 on Monday, that is the formal trial exam. So they're going to be taking place upstairs in the PRC. So ours is Monday, 9 to 11, 10 a.m. And I'm going to give you last year's exam. So I'm telling you which exam it's going to be now. So you can find that online, you can find it on the Google Drive. Don't go, oh no. Okay, let's get back to it. So, where were we? I reckon we were talking about just the tutorials in week 3. Okay, so looking at our timeline there, rigorous program, right? Week 2 of term 4, we have your formal trial exam, followed by optional tutorials. My recommendation will be that you do come along during those times on Wednesday and Thursday of week 2, and during week 3, leading up to the exam on the Monday. Okay, so let's read through these notes. As far as cheat sheets go, you will get 2 A4 pages, both double-sided, of handwritten notes. So it has to be handwritten, can't glue anything to it, so they have to be single pieces of paper, and they're both double-sided. Now we will provide some card for you to do it. We've provided card in the past. The reason we do that is because it's a bit thicker, so you can write on both sides without it going through and sort of ruining the other side. That's an option you can use. You don't have to use it. Maybe you've got your cheat sheets from the past and you're just going to try and fiddle with those to make it work. Okay, you will also have a formula sheet, and the formula sheet that SACE provides you is I'll put at the back here. So that means they're going to give that to you as a loose sheet. All right, so in the exam you'll have a loose formula sheet, and you'll have 2 examination booklets. So you can see here with the handout I've given you, you've got booklet 1 and you've got booklet 2. And the reason they give out 2 booklets is just to sort of spread the marking out, so you don't have one marker marking your whole exam. It's spread out, and you have 2 different groups of people marking your exam. Now you're permitted to take 1 graphics calculator, but you're also allowed to bring a scientific calculator if you want to. Make sure you've got your batteries charged and so forth. As far as the unit circle goes, it's not something that's provided. I don't think it's something you need to put on a cheat sheet, because I've got strategies for how you can figure out each part of it that could pop up and need, but it is assumed knowledge, so it's up to you whether you put that on the cheat sheet. And we've said already the need to facilitate the exam situation, right? It's exposure to, I've got 2 hours and 10 minutes to get as many marks as I can. As an exam marker, what we're doing is we're looking for evidence that supports that you've understood the question. All right, so the exam marker, ultimately, they're on your team, and they're not trying to take marks away, rather they're trying to give you marks, and they're looking for evidence that you've earned those marks. All right, so you've got 2 hours and 10 minutes to put as much evidence on the page as possible. That means answering everything, not leaving anything blank. All right, let's turn the page, because then what we've got here is a list of all of the resources available to us. So you'll notice, firstly, this is our exam list, and this is probably the order of what I would say is just the order of importance. Okay, the most relevant ones are at the top, and the least relevant ones are at the bottom, although they're all relevant to a certain degree, right? So you can see we've got the SACE 2022 exam. Now that's going to be your formal trial exam. So well, you could go ahead and access it if you want, but I'd recommend against it just so that it sits as an exam for you. We've got the 2021 exam, the 2020 exam, and then the sample exam for the 2020, because that is the year that it changed to 2 hours rather than 3. Everything past there, okay, I'll speak to the MASA 22, 21 and 20. The MASA exams are made by the Maths Association of South Australia. So they're teachers of maths methods that have produced exams. So they're all 2 hours as well. But from the SACE 2019 downwards, those are 3-hour exams. So the questions are relevant, but the time frame doesn't necessarily match what we're after. Okay, so from 2019 onwards, you can still answer all of those questions, but the time frame doesn't fit it particularly. Okay, let's go through the other resources that we've got available to us. So firstly, exams, and I've said trying to do at least one a week. The first thing is the revision guide. Now, it used to be, you've received an email about this earlier in the year asking if you wanted a copy, and you purchased it, if you wanted it or not, and it's on your Hazy Snowflake Online. Used to be they gave you a hard copy. So I've got, you can see 5 hard copies here from different years, 2018, 2020, 2018, 2020, 2017, okay? So, and I'm very happy to lend them out, to bring them to each lesson for you to use them. Hard copy if you want, or you've got the electronic copy. They're pretty similar, there's minor changes, and the changes that occur only depend on having the most current exams in the back, okay? That's really the only changes. The questions remain the same. And what's good about it, it provides notes to read through, and it provides questions. So I'll open it up and just talk to you guys. They've got some, helpful hints on how to do the exam and so forth. But then section 1, statistics. So they've got notes on statistics, and then they've got questions on statistics. So this might be a first port of call when we're going over the statistics stuff in upcoming lessons. All right, they've got trig functions, then they've got calculus questions, then they've got log questions, then they've got integration questions. So it breaks it up into areas. And then following that, once you've done a review of all of each skill in particular, they've got short questions, okay? Short answer questions, which are sort of like quick thinking ones. Can I recall? And then they've got long questions. So have a look through. That is a good resource to use. And then following that, they've got about 5 exams in them as well. No space to fill it in or anything. It's just questions, pure questions, and work solutions at the back. So that's a good resource. That's the first one. That's the revision guide. Okay, the next one, all right, what we're going to go into, I'm in my 12 methods folder on the Google Drive here. So firstly, in exam and in exams, okay, that's where you'll find all of those exams I've got listed there for you. So they're all there. You can open them up, you can print them. I'm happy to print anything you want. We are having a few issues with the booklet printer at the moment, but I'm very happy to print it for you. No worries whatsoever. So that's where the exams are, solutions in the solutions folder. If you can't find anything, let me know, I'll get it for you. Now, the other thing I want to point out is the extra resources folder. Okay, so if we look through the extra resources folder, we can see we've got the conjecture questions booklet. So we have already given you that booklet when we did the calculus, applications of calculus tests. So you've got a copy of that one. You've got a copy of the graphing relationships booklet, which we also did. You don't have the natural logs, you don't have the statistics, and you don't have the trig booklet. Now all of those, so that's textbook questions, conjecture solutions, binomial exam questions. So you see there's lots of things in here. So if you find there's a particular skill that you want to work on, all right, so let's go in here, natural logs and exponent questions. So this is questions specifically around skills involving logarithms and exponentials, okay? And so you can see it's a 20-page PDF. I can print it for you, you can access it online. Got work solutions there. So there's the solutions, there's the document. So you can see we've got those for natural logarithms, we've got statistics questions, we've got trig and unit circle questions. You will see a lot of overlap between those booklets I've made and the revision guide, and that's because those booklets are composed of questions from the old Math Studies exams. So prior to it being called Math Methods, which occurred in 2017, it was called Math Studies, and that's the course that existed from 2003 to 2016. And whilst most of the content is the same, there are some minor changes. Okay, so we've got down there, we've got the Adelaide Tuition Centre resource. So, some students in the past have gone to the tutorials that the universities offer in the holidays. Very welcome to go ahead and do that. It won't be any harm at all. I've got a resource there that an old student left me, so you can have a look and see what it is that they go through in particular. The old Math Studies exams, so you can see there's like 15 exams there. Not all the content's relevant, but most of it is, so you can delve into that. I've sort of snatched most of it out. And we also have in this folder 3 sets of sample questions. So there's the blank of it. So where is it? Math method sample solutions 3, questions set 1. Oh, here we go. Sample 1, sample 2, and sample 3. So that's a resource that SACE released recently. So they're just more randomized questions for you to have a go at in the style of the exam. Then at the bottom, we've got all of the tests we've done, and you can see we've got, how many we got there? We've got seven tests to choose from there now. And so you can tick off or cross off or mark particular questions. Now, one of the things to be aware of with revision, so I've said, important notes is, I don't think we should revise things that we find really easy, okay? We always want to be on that, what do we call it, that zone of proximal development where we're always challenging ourselves, but it's not ridiculously hard. We're fighting a war, right? We're wrestling with the problem. And so that means being very deliberate about the skills that I need to know, okay? The skills that I need to apply. And sometimes that can be reading a question. Do I know how to answer it? Yes, I know how to answer it. Okay, move on to the next one. Because you have a look at this, and if you were to just use this resource, there's like 1,000 questions in here. Okay, there's heaps. And to answer all of it, it'd be a big job. So instead of answering all of it and writing down, having a solution for it, a clear work solution, and getting the answer perfect, what's the strategy I could employ? How can I use my time most effectively? Do I understand the question? Do I know how to solve it? Okay, so don't want to overwhelm you, all right? I'm talking about what we're doing here, 2 months of work. I'm pointing out, I've got a very rigorous program planned. So for the next sort of 3 weeks, all you need to do is rock up and do what I say. And following that, you'll start to figure out what are the areas I need to focus on leading up to that exam. All right, so the idea is not to overwhelm you. We've got lots of time. It's about being deliberate about where we use our time. So yeah, your job is just to rock up, make sure we're using our time effectively, and yeah, leading up to that exam, make sure we're doing plenty of work to make sure we're ready to face it. Are there any questions from you guys? So what our plan is today then, we've got, 35 minutes to flick through the 2018 exam and answer as much as you can. Even take it home, like you don't have to do it for 35 minutes today, but take it home, answer as much as you can. And what's the point of that? Not to overwhelm you, but to make you realize, yep, 2 months work to be done. I need to cover these things. Now, I don't expect you to answer too much because there's questions in here that we studied in term 1, right? And so, that's a long way away. But once we've gone over it, then maybe we can have another look at these questions and see, am I feeling a bit more confident with it now? All right, so that's enough. I'll join those 2 videos up, and let's rip in. Let's have a go at the 2018 exam, leading up to some chapter 1 and chapter 2 revision tomorrow.